Hi, I'm City Manager Ed Zerker, and welcome to another edition of On the Job, the show where we talk to Phoenix employees about the work they do to serve the community. Our City Clerk Department is known for elections and records, but another area the City Clerk Department does that people don't know much about is licensing. They license many businesses in the City of Phoenix. And I'm here today with Denise Archibald, License Services Supervisor. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
And for having me here in the License Services section. So tell us a little bit about what is licensed. What do you do in license services?
Well, I think a lot of people are not aware that the City of Phoenix does not have a general business license, and so the only things that are actually licensed are regulated activity, and then license services also does recommendations for things like liquor licensing, bingo, off-track betting. And in terms of regulated licensing, it's things like vending, street vending, mobile vending, secondhand sales, and things like that.
So it's a wide variety of businesses and individuals that have to come in here and get licenses. So what goes on here on a daily basis?
Well, I have a great team, a team of 6 staff members that are professionals dedicated to customer service, and basically we take in walk-ins, calls, and people coming in to apply. And they come in, we provide them applications and some guidance about what the rules and regulations are, and then we allow them to apply, and then we partner with other departments, get some input from other people, and then basically prepare the applications for review and then potential approval or recommendation.
So it's a lot of customer service.
Yes.
And what's your philosophy of customer service here? I know it's very important in City Clerk.
Well, we really think that empowering people with information is a good way for them to make informed decisions and to empower them to reach their goals. So our goal here is to basically be able to provide everyone with as much information as they need and guide them through the process so that it's something simple and not as complex, since our rules and regulations sometimes can be complex.
And how has technology changed what goes on here? Does everybody have to come in every year, or how does technology help customer service?
We've actually been able to make several changes with technology. Not everyone has to come in, so sometimes they can actually submit their applications through email, or they can come in if they choose to, if they want a little more guidance. It just depends, and we do post a lot of information online now. Our applications are online. We post information for neighborhoods to look at related to liquor licensing. We really do use technology quite a bit in this environment so that people have as much information as they need.
And I would imagine you're dealing with a lot of people who don't have daily contact with the city in other ways, and so you're the only contact they have with the city. Does that make a difference in how you serve them or the issues that you deal with?
It does. I think we really strive to ensure that people understand the entire process. We're just a piece of the process, and so a lot of times we have to guide them to ensure that they understand that they need to get other permits or partner with other departments or talk to the community. So that definitely changes things for us. We want to make sure that everyone has a bigger picture, and we're the first contact, so we want to make sure they're comfortable and that they get all the information they need.
And sometimes people English is not their first language, so you have to be sensitive to those issues as well, I would guess.
We are definitely sensitive to that. We have staff here that are dedicated Spanish speakers, and other languages. We have the ability to basically communicate almost in any language. We have some technology and some assistance that way, and we try and make our materials available in different formats, where people can either have a snapshot of something or read a little bit more, or have things online, or come in person, or talk to someone on the phone. We just try and do as much as we can.
Sure. Now, how did you become a licensed services supervisor? That's probably not something people grow up saying that's what I want to be, but it's a very important job in the city. And how did you come to this job?
That's a good question. I've always been interested in helping people, and I've always worked in service-oriented jobs. And so I started off being interested in law, and I studied a little bit of that. I was involved in teaching and training a lot, and so that naturally just led to becoming a supervisor. And I've worked as a supervisor for quite a long time, for several years in my career, and I really do enjoy it. I find that helping staff help others is really a great thing to do. And then here in the City of Phoenix, I also have that dual role where I can help staff help others, and I also myself have a whole array of things that I can do to help customers directly as well.
And how long have you been with the city?
I've been with the city for almost 10 years now.
Great. And what did you do before you came to the city?
Before the city, I worked in the private sector for a little bit, and prior to that, I lived in Chile in South America, and there I worked as a teacher and as a translator. I worked with nonprofits and helping people in the community and studying law at the same time, so just a lot of stuff.
And how would you say those things sort of help you in your job now, that varied experience? You have a very diverse background.
You know, I think that varied experience is exactly what we needed. You know, I have experience with law, which we deal with a lot of codes and rules and things like that. I have experience teaching and training, which helps me with the supervisory piece of it. And I also have worked in nonprofits and with the community, so I do understand the importance that, you know, businesses can have on the community and how the community wants to be involved and things like that. So I think that's helpful.
Great. Now, something very exciting has just been announced about you. You were named one of the 40 Hispanic Leaders under 40. Tell us a little bit about that. What led to that award? What were they recognizing in that?
You know, I'm extremely honored with that award.
And you can brag a little bit. It's okay.
I really thank the city for even considering me for that, and I really appreciate the nomination. And receiving that award is important, I think. I'm happy to represent City of Phoenix. I think City of Phoenix is definitely one of the most diverse places that I've worked at. And so we definitely promote diversity and leadership. And being able to have that recognized is just truly an honor. I have a great team behind me that helps me be a leader in a leadership position. And I have great leaders around me. My supervisor is fantastic, and just my leaders in general. So I'm really proud to be able to be in this role, and it means a lot to me. I'm very honored.
Well, congratulations. And
Thank
I get
you.
to see you in action almost every week at the City Council meeting with lots of liquor licenses. You are in front of the City Council regularly with those customers and helping the City Council making decisions on that. So congratulations on the award. It's well deserved.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
We want to congratulate another city employee, Ellie Perez from City Council District 8, who was also named to the 40 Hispanic Leaders Under 40 list. If you'd like to learn more about the work done in licensed services, go to the website on your screen. For On the Job, I'm City Manager Ed Zerker.